In the small town of Ferrith, 3 monster hunters protected the common folk in exchange for coin. Stumbling into a plot bigger than their meager station, these hunters were transported to a vast wasteland, where they fought their way through horrid dangers to get home. The corruption and plot ran deeper than they expected. After interrupting a council of wizards bent on breaking the planes of existence, they were magically shunted to far corners of the kingdom. Hide of Beast and Gamorg awoke on a ship in the middle of the sea, a storm rising, but with a surprising ally at their side. The wind continues to whip up around the ship, and as it does so, the ship begins to tilt starboard and port side, and the sails begin to make this loud flapping noise as the wind catches them and sends them back and forth hard. The spray of the sea salt water hits you both, and as you tip, the water hits the deck and creates almost like a slipperiness over top of the entire wooden deck of the ship. So you find yourself having a hard time keeping footing, especially not being used to being on a ship, and especially not expecting to find yourselves on one in this moment. I would like you both very quickly to make dexterity saving throws, and I would like Luna to make hers a disadvantage.
And actually, Luna is on the lower deck. Me and Gamorg
Gotcha.
went up
So
to
Luna stayed down and didn't
Mm-hmm.
come up quite yet.
That's
Sounds
right.
good.
Okay, that's a 13 for me.
And I got an 8.
An 8, okay. Neither of you are really finding your sea legs completely. Gamorg, you have to kind of catch yourself on a nearby barrel to keep from falling over. As you take a couple steps, Hyde, your sure-footedness in the jungles and even within the wasteland and the forests fails you in this moment, and you go right onto your tail, quite literally, and fall down. You pick yourself up easy enough, but you're having a hard time keeping your dignity in this moment. But there isn't time to worry about that, because as soon as you start to scramble up, a young human man kind of goes rushing by you, kind of grabs you by the shoulders and sets you on your feet, says, "Come on, keep yourself on your feet, no time to waste," and continues to run out forward as you see the crew scrambling across the deck of the ship. There are all sorts of different characters here. You see gnomes and halflings, you see this human. The captain, it seems, up at the helm of the ship is a genasi, a fire genasi. You see another person scramble by who has almost like wolf-like features in these kind of long pointed ears and almost a snout and fur, but humanoid. And all of a sudden, kind of skittering beside your feet, you see a goblin go by and begin to lash ropes around and knot things off. And Cricket very quickly kind of like grabs the both of you. He's very short, so he kind of grabs you both by the bottom of your shirts and is like, "Do you have any experience sailing on the ship? If not, we need to get below deck and let the crew do their job."
No, 0, no experience. Where are we? What is going on?
We don't have time for that quite yet. Get below deck.
Do you have experience, Gamorg?
No, not really. I mean, I've been on boats, but not like this.
This is not a boat, it's a ship, and this is not some little rainstorm. This is a sea storm. Let's get below. And he kind of grabs you and starts pulling you back towards that same staircase you had come up previously.
As we're walking, I'm just like, to no one in particular, but what ocean is this? Where are we? I'm so confused.
And he kind of hears you say that, and he just goes, "It's the Forgotten Sea. We'll get to all of it here in a second." And he starts to head down the ladder. Has to duck way off to the side as a half-elf man comes running up. And almost just like taking it in leaps and bounds, like very accustomed to every step on this ship. And goes running up towards the captain. You hear her continue to shout out orders. You're not quite making out what she's saying because of the distance and the noise, but you can hear a loud, piercing, strong voice just continue to shout things out. And as you look over your shoulder just before going down below deck, you see her there holding on to the wheel of the ship, guiding it just with this smile cracked on her face as she points and continues to direct the crew.
So, this is weird. You seem to know someone, though.
Yeah.
Gamorg.
Yeah, I worked with that guy a long time ago. I did a job with him. And I haven't seen
My
him
head still hurts.
since then. But yeah. Well, this is weird.
I wish I could be helpful, but I'm just out of my element.
Is there anyone else in this room?
As you go down into the next deck, where you had been in the hammocks, other than Luna, who is still in the corner, now just dry heaving, nothing left to vomit from her belly. It is just yourself, the two of you, and Luna and Cricket. And he kind of walks over to a little stool and plops down to it, pulls a little flask out and pops the top and takes a swig and offers it up to you, Gamorg.
Sure. Thanks, my man.
You take a swill of some pretty old wine, is what you taste. He takes it back, offers it to you, Hyde.
It's really good.
Sure. I'll take a swig. Wine. I was not expecting wine.
It's a surprise.
Yeah, you take what you can get out here on the sea. Takes one more sip and corks it and puts it back in his vest pocket. I'm glad the both of you are up. It's been, well, to be honest, you've been dead weight for a while here in the hammocks. Good to have you at least on your feet, able to do something.
Okay. Yeah, about that. What?
Just what?
Yeah, just
It's a good start. It's a good starting point.
To be honest, the question goes both ways, because when we found you, we're not entirely sure what happened either. But we found you in an old monastery in Quinth. Just sprawled out on the ground. Unconscious but breathing. It was the fates alone that allowed us to find you. We weren't looking for you. We had no idea. But once we came across you, since I recognized your ugly face, sellsword, I put in a good word and got you transported, and, well, you've kind of been tagging along with me as dead weight for the last little while, until you woke up here.
Wow. Well, first of all...
How long are we talking? I'm sorry.
First of all, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Let's see here. How long? Well, it's been about 3 years since I last saw you, Gamorg, in Drewcaster, and then within that same time, well, I guess 3 years since I last saw you, because it's been about a month that you've been traveling along with me, but I don't know what happened to you in those 2 years since. 2.5, 2+, almost 3 years since. I can't do math on a ship. The swaying gets to me.
Yeah.
You don't seem like the math
Gamorg, make a
person
history check.
anyways.
History. History is on here. Yeah. That's an 8.
An 8. Hard to do math on a ship yourself, but you know that, like, it's pretty obvious, like, it hasn't been 3 years since you saw Cricket. You're not sure of the exact time, but you thought it had been about a year since your adventure in Drewcaster.
3 years. Interesting.
While that's happening, I'm gonna go get Luna and just make sure that she's all right. Bring her by the group, like try to tend to her a little bit.
Yeah, give me an animal handling check to kind of help guide and calm her.
Um, 14.
14? Okay. She's still having a hard time with it. And as she walks, it's kind of that, like, have you ever seen a dog, like, on ice sort of thing, where their legs are kind of going every which way? I think that's kind of what you're getting as she's coming across. And you get the idea that, like, this is not something she's going to become accustomed to very quickly.
Right.
And every time the ship lurches, which is quite often as the storm is whipping up, she just kind of gives out a little yelp.
So I'm usually very stern with Luna. That's my method of being her master, But right now I'm like tending to her, and I'm very. It almost reminds me when I was training back in the day.
I'm gonna make a supercut of all your gooey moments with Luna because there have been so many. You are not. You saying that you're stern with her, I'm like, okay, sure.
I don't have a dog, so this is me living curiously through Hyde.
Yes. Good. And also get a dog.
That's what D&D is for, but yes, also get a dog.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just talk to Cricket some more. So, okay, you said 3 years. Has anything... Okay, just assume that I've been asleep for 3 years. Has anything weird happened lately?
I didn't know... Sellsword, I didn't know you had the bard's tongue. Enough to make a man die of laughter.
Yeah, jokes are,
you are really
great.
Funny.
But that, so, okay, yeah, that's great. But I'm not joking, though.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. I don't know what's going on.
He, starts to, get really wide-eyed, and, his skin starts to go just a little bit paler, like the blood, draining from it. And, he just kind of says... What do you mean you've been asleep for 3 years?
I have no idea. I just know that it was not 3 years ago when I saw you last. It was more like a year ago. Definitely not 3 years. The last thing I knew, some weird magical stuff happened, and I was gone. I was out. So...
What type of weird magical stuff?
I'm not exactly sure.
Right, and I don't know if we should maybe be talking about all this.
It's
when did the rifts begin? Do you remember the rifts beginning?
Yes, right? Yeah.
Right, yes. Mm-hmm.
In all over, I think.
That was days, weeks ago for us.
Yeah.
The beginning of the rifts was weeks ago for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, gods preserve us. We're gonna need to get this story out of you, but we might want to wait for the captain. To be quite frank, come with me. And he kind of leads you through a couple of these, little tight hallways and rooms into kind of the kitchen area, where you see a male gnome with he doesn't look terribly old, but his goatee is completely white, and he's got a shaved head and these big long white eyebrows that kind of come out to points along with his long pointy ears, and he smiles and he's missing several teeth, but he's got an apron on and he's stirring some pot of something, and he just kind of hey, your bellies must be empty.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Come get what's good for you. And he kind of takes big spoonfuls of some sort of slop and like into bowls and shoves it over towards you. It's kind of got like a gray color, and there's chunks of stuff you can't quite tell what it is in there.
I like all food, so I'm just gonna dig in.
And you, in this moment, like your stomachs just turn, and you feel like you haven't eaten in years. It is. You don't care how in this moment how nasty the food might be.
Before I start chowing down, Gamorg, do you have any bacon still, maybe?
I don't know. Do I have my stuff? Like, where? I mean...
You feel around on you, and the items that were on your person before, you feel the same items. You're not carrying your weapons at the moment, but you do remember seeing your packs and weapons kind of off to the side of the hammocks.
Yeah, I'll have to look through my pack and see if it's still there. 3-year-old bacon?
There's no way we've been out.
Something weird's going on.
Cricket takes his bowl and sits down and starts eating it and kind of gestures for the two of you to take a seat at a table.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start going ham.
Yeah, same.
Goku style, you know?
As you eat it, it has no color or anything to it. It does not look appetizing, but as soon as you begin eating it, it's pretty flavorful. There's actually a lot of spices mixed in here. You're not sure what it is, but it kind of tastes like a... closest thing would be like a potato leek soup type thing, but it's pretty good. And you hear now all of a sudden a noise that almost sounds like a ratcheting, like, and it's coming from like out another door and around a corner where you can't quite see what's going on, but you just hear Cricket kind of go, here comes the captain. And you hear kind of a thud, and then a rolling sound as rolling around the corner in her chair, the captain comes pushing in with a big smile on her face, and she rolls up to this table, but then kind of parks her chair in place, and then pushes herself up and lifts herself off of her chair and onto a seat at the table, kind of swings her legs around, and elbows go up on the table, and she kind of looks over towards all of you, and she kind of makes a motion. Fonkin, I'll have a bowl of that, please. And pretty quickly, the gnome kind of brings over, here you are, Captain, and sets something in front of him. Oh, it's wonderful today. Thank you, ma'am. And he goes back to his work, and she takes a couple bites and wipes her chin, looks over towards the two of you. So, freeloaders on my ship. My name's Captain Van Diere. What are your names? We're quite interested. You, I believe, Mr. Cricket here was able to identify, but you, my friend, we have no idea who you are. As she points to you, Hyde.
I don't like to give my name because of previous incidents, so...
Oh, well, I'm afraid that that's not going to fly here on my ship, so it's either name or the drink.
It's alright, Hyde. She's got my name.
I can take a drink. That's okay.
Son, the drink is the ocean. Oh, landlubbers. Oh, Lord.
Landlubbers.
As slow of mind as their legs are shaky.
My name is Hyde.
Hyde. A wonderful
Yeah.
name. And that magnificent creature over there, what do you call her?
Her name is Spoona.
Spoona. It's interesting. It's unique. And she and beckons over to Luna, who shakily comes over, and she begins giving kind of scritches underneath her chin. Oh, good girl. Good girl. And you, Gamorg, the sellsword, as Cricket likes to call you. Well,
That's me.
what in the Fire God's name are you doing on my ship?
Yeah, about that.
Of course, you don't know that. You don't know that. You were unconscious when you were brought here. Better
Right.
question to ask would be, who are you? Why were you unconscious in a temple that Mr. Cricket here found you? And what's your business?
Real quick, you said we were in Quint, right? Do I know where that area is?
Yeah, Quinth is one of the major provinces of Alson. Quinth is the most eastern province. And yes, the ocean off of the shore of Quinth is known as the Forgotten Sea. There's the Forgotten Sea on the east and the Western Sea on the west.
Right. Well, it's a long story and now seems to be more complicated than ever, but we were traveling and then some rifts started to happen between planes of existence, we're told. We ran across a tower with some power from magicians of sorts.
The Emerald Council?
I don't know.
They didn't give us a name.
Uh-huh.
And when they asked whether we should join or resist, we didn't want to join because they seemed evil, in all honesty. And next thing we know, white flash, we wake up, and apparently it's a long time ago now.
So you say that you started seeing rifts, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
The rifts were a couple weeks ago.
Oh my dear!
The first one we've ever seen.
Wherever you've been there for a while. The rifts began 2 years ago.
That's what Cricket said.
The country is in shambles at this point.
The country is in shambles.
The continent, as much as we know, we've not had a terrible amount of communication with the elves, but it seems that they're dealing with the issue as well.
What exactly is happening?
Yeah.
Everywhere around Alson. From the capital to the west in Valenhai, to Quinth, to the southern wilds. Rifts are opening up and all sorts of fell creatures are coming through. Mostly fiendish beasts, some from shadowy realms, some from realms that seem to be mechanical in nature and bring strange automatons. Some that, unfortunate for the poor monsters, we've had what seems to be aquatic realms opening up rifts into desert area and dispensing large underwater beasties who just suffer and die under the sun. Unfortunately, most of these monsters who come through, they do a great deal of damage around wherever they are before they're able to be put down. This has been going on for a while.
For 2 years?
For 2 years. It's been getting worse as it went along. It started just down in, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Thareth, but I believe they were the first ones to report anything happening, and then things started to happen in the Saints' Preserve, and we got notice from the Paladins. And then, yes, almost as if a spider's web, just spreading up from those southern parts of the kingdom. It's just been happening everywhere. So far, the only place that we haven't seen them happening too much is in the northwest corner of the kingdom, right on the border of the Elven kingdoms. Something about that pocket seems to be unaffected.
What's the Emerald Council?
Oh, the Emerald Council. They're, well... She kind of looks over to Cricket. How much do they know? He's like, not much, I don't believe. But he kind of pauses for a moment and kind of looks at Yugamorg. I think this one's trustworthy. And if this one's been hanging with him, then... And they've met them. She's like, right. At this point, that half-elf man who had kind of bounded up the stairs past you all comes down, and he's kind of like he's got a cloth, he's wiping his face off of rain and water in his hands, and he's like, Captain, the ship is holding well, and I've given over control of the helm to the quartermaster. And she's like, oh, thank you, Hagen, go ahead and have a seat. And she kind of mentions over, she's like, this is Hagenest, my first mate. Gives you a nod.
Real quick, what was the captain's name?
So the captain's name is Captain Van Diere, Vandiir. And then you've met Cricket. She indicated that the cook's name was Fonkin, Fonkin, and then she just called the first mate Hargin, Hargin.
Got it. This is...
Well, I suppose to understand the Emerald Council, you first need to understand who we are. Myself, Mr. Cricket here, a handful of people around the kingdom, we're part of you could call it an organization, you could call it a group of like-minded individuals known as the Observant. We tend to mainly occupy our time and our resources with keeping an eye on individuals who are magical in nature, whether by the divine or the arcane, for the purpose of keeping a check and balance. Should they begin to experiment or dally in things that would be kingdom affecting. The arcane arts are quite powerful and do a lot of good amongst this kingdom. And she kind of pats her chair off to the side of her and is like, and we are all made better by their existence in our kingdom. And as you look over at her chair at this moment, as she kind of mentioned to it, you see a couple interesting elements of it. There is this, like, kind of pulsing gemstone that's, like, half buried in the handle, like, right where the hand would sit. And then you also notice these, like, runes that are etched all around it, around the woodwork. And it was hard to see at first, but now in kind of the dim light, you can see there's, like, this very faint, like, glow to them. Almost like this, it's like fire colored, like this kind of orangey red glow that kind of etches all the way around her chair. But some time ago, perhaps 3.5 years, we began to hear rumblings from the south of some sort of arcane goings on. Strange portals being opened, similar to these rifts we're dealing with now. Pulses of magic that would blast out from a location deep in the southern wilds and cause death and destruction wherever they went. It was small at first, but then could continue to get larger. And we began investigating, and very quickly found a group of mages and practitioners of magic who call themselves the Emerald Council. Made up from people all around the kingdom, really all around the continent, people from the elven kingdoms as well, and members of the tribes of the southern wilds. We didn't make much of it at first. Little club for those who like to dally in magic is not a bad thing in and of itself. But very soon we began to hear reports of other arcane going-ons that were leaving people dead in strange ways around a temple in the jungles of Eachton. We did some investigating, and about 2 years ago, the rifts began to open up more frequently. And one of our men was able to capture one of these mages and interrogate him. We didn't get a ton of information out of him, but what we did learn was that this was devised, that this was part of some plan of theirs. Some plan to render the veil between the planes of existence torn. Well, that's the type of thing that our organization is specifically designed to prevent.
I knew they were evil.
Yeah, that's what they told us they were doing. They were trying to break everything so they could fix it.
They were trying to, what did they say, set the planes like you set a broken bone or something like that.
Sometimes you have to break it first.
Well, there's some logic in that reasoning, and their intentions may be good, but regardless, what is being unleashed upon our kingdom in these 2 years since, this is not something that can stand. But unfortunately, Realm Shield has been all but decimated and stretched thin, fighting these monsters across the realm. The Knights of Excessa have been deployed to some of the places that are worse off in the south, along with the Saints Preserve, paladins. Because of that, King Oosterman, who is so preoccupied with putting out the metaphorical and literal fires that are happening all around his kingdom, unfortunately has very little time to hear conspiracy theories from a group of spies and ne'er-do-wells such as ourselves. So we have been unable to make a ton of progress in regards to official help from the kingdom. And Cricket kind of leans in, but that doesn't mean that we haven't made progress. And she kind of nods.
Like, can you tell us what kind of progress?
So here's the thing, Sellsword. That temple down in Easton is a bit of a beacon point, we found out, through studying some old lores and talking to some old mages. There's 5 of them in the nearby area, across the kingdom. There's 1 up in the Elven kingdoms that we've not gone to yet. 3 of them have already been occupied by the Emerald Council, including the one in Easton. But that's why we're on this ship, because there's 1 off the coast. And that's where we're headed. See, the best way we can figure out is that the Emerald Council is trying to use these beacon points, these temples, these places of power, in order to either bring about or supercharge their ability to create this breaking of the plains. They've already got 3, like I said. We don't know if stopping 1 or 2 will stop all of their plans, but it's the best we can do. It's the best lead we've got. So, we dug around, we found a map. Not a great map. And Kendall, Captain Van Diere just kind of shakes her head and goes, nope, not a great map at all. Meadow is very perturbed with you for making her navigate to something such as, so vague as this, she says to Cricket. And then he says, but it's our best lead, and that's where we're headed, and I'm just glad that you're both awake in time for the fun.
I feel like you kind of lucked out because we were in the middle of all this. We were in Ferrith when the rift started. We were in the Black Tower, in the main beacon, it sounds. Do you know anything about Steeth? Does that ring a bell? Does that make any connection?
Well, it's that. Isn't that the god of pestilence?
It is, and it all started with Steeth. The mages were doing research about him, and he's involved in all this. I don't know exactly how, but he's involved.
Well, that's a wrinkle we haven't heard of yet, he says as he looks over to the captain. No, it is not, but if the gods are now involved for the first time in 1,000 years, that certainly does make things interesting. Maybe one of the good ones will help us out in this hour.
I don't get how it benefits them. Like, I don't get why they're doing it.
We're not 100% certain either.
Yeah.
But you were there, you met them. Is there anything you can tell us? Anything at all?
Yeah, I mean, one of the guys we were with for a while, what was, his name was,
Erevan.
Erevan, yeah. He was a halfling, I think. And he was, he had an apprentice that we fought, and then he ended up reading all the stuff that this kid was doing to try to get in touch with Steeth. And then he, Stith. And then he, apparently went down the rabbit hole and started getting into that himself.
Hmm.
And then the next thing we know, he's at the tower with the rest of the guys.
All different types of races. Elves, gnomes, goblins. One demon looking, one angelic-looking one. There was a big mirror in the room.
Big
We
mirror.
didn't get much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a mirror where you look in it and it looks like you're seeing into another place. Did not look good.
What the place look like?
A lot of
I
fire.
know. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I know Siki saw it. Did we get a
Oh,
chance to
that's
see
true.
it too?
Yeah, we may
Yeah,
not
you
have.
both got to see it as well, and yeah, you saw flame, and you saw this large hulking figure wreathed in flame go walking by.
Yeah, big fiery
It's-
things.
It seemed like a reflection of the room, but a lot more fire and one big monster-looking creature.
The captain leans forward, kind of smooths back her hair, which is that kind of, it's not made of fire, but it's super red and kind of like, there's almost this sense of movement to it. Like, you can't quite put your hand, your finger on, yeah, it's moving, but it just seems to shift every once in a while. She kind of runs her hands through it. And,
Cool.
this is interesting, but unfortunately, matters at hand are the most pressing, and perhaps some of the puzzle pieces will start to come together as we go forward. We're headed to one of these temples. We're not 100% certain if it's going to be accessible. The map does not indicate whether or not it's on an island or under the waters. We're prepared for either, through various means, and we're not that far away at this point. Best we can tell from the lore, this is some sort of place of power and worship, from back when the dwarves were at the height of their power and reign. And there's something in there that we must either obtain or break or stop. All we know is that there are pieces of lore connecting it to the other 3 temples that have been taken over by the Emerald Council already. So we assume that this is important to them, that they would come looking for it eventually, and this is our mission, to essentially get there and screw with it first.
How many temples in total did you say there was?
That we know of, there's 5. There's one up in the Elven Kingdom that, well, we're hoping that the elves can help us with that. And then, there's this one. The one that you went to. There's one deep in the Axenhead Woods, near the center of the kingdom. And another one on the southern eastern part of the kingdom, out in the middle of nowhere.
So, do you guys have people on your side who can use magic in the way that these mages are using magic?
Well, perhaps not at the same level of effectiveness, but just because we observe the users of the arcane does not mean that we are opposed to it ourselves. While I'm not a magical practitioner, neither is Mr. Cricket here, there are certainly those amongst our ranks who are well-versed in the arcane arts.
Siki. Where's Siki?
What's a Siki?
When you found us, did you see a I guess the best way to say is a turtle, humanoid turtle? Yes.
I know what turtles are, son.
I'm not sure how common they are, to be completely honest. But
No, there were no turtles with you. It was just 3 of you.
I hope she's okay.
Well, I mean, we're okay, you know, all things considered, so hopefully she came to somewhere safe.
The captain kind of chuckles and she says, "You're more than okay. You're on Marta's Remorse under the command of Captain Kendall Van Diere. You're going to be just fine. As to your friend, may she be as lucky to find a captain with as much of a stalwart crew as I have." And she kind of looks over to Hark and then gives a nod, and he smiles and nods.
When we were out trying to find our way back home, we encountered a storm where planes seemed to be snapping in and out of existence. Did that happen as well for you? Has that been happening?
Oh, that's happened for as long as I can remember. at times, but it's been happening more frequently, yes. Sometimes it's rifts opening up in the ground like earthquakes. Sometimes it's lightning coming down in strange colors and bringing with it fell creatures. Sometimes a wind picks up and seems to blow leaves over your eyes, and when you come to with your vision, you're in a new place, or some new monstrosity is standing in front of you. I think we've all, and he kind of looks around to everybody, at least once or twice over the last year, found ourselves in and out of a plane we didn't expect. They all nod.
Wow.
And all of a sudden you see the captain kind of furrow her brow and kind of look up. Speaking of the wind, she looks over to Hargan and she goes, "The wind died down 15 minutes ago." He goes, "Yep. So why is the boat still tossing so?" And then both of them look at each other with wide eyes, and boom, she grabs the table and pushes herself up and almost like leaping into her chair, slides her feet in, backs it up, turns and rolls out the room. And you hear that same sound as some sort of mechanic ratchets her up to the top deck, and Hargan slams the table, pushes it away from him, jumps and turns and goes running up, and they begin shouting orders. And as he just about leaves the room, going up a ladder, Hargan turns back down towards all of you and goes, "If you can fight, you better get up here," and begins to run up. You
said we
turn and
didn't
see
have
the
our
cook.
weapons, right?
They're over with your packs in the sleeping room. Yes, you see the cook turn and two big chef's knives come out, and he just kind of smiles and goes, "Righty then," and runs towards and begins to crawl up the ladder. And yes, you now in this moment you stop and listen, and there's no more rain pelting and there's no more wind whipping up, but the ship is still being tossed violently to and fro. What do you both do? Cricket has already pulled out his crossbow and started to make his way up as well.
Run and grab my weapons.
Okay.
All right, so I guess this is happening.
Okay.
Let's go.
Is Luna coming with you?
Yeah, she's coming to our quarters where we're gonna get our weapons, and yeah, she's gonna come with me for now.
Okay, so she's going up on the deck of the ship with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good. The three of you make your way onto the deck of the ship, and you see crew members scattering every which direction. They're tucking swords into their belts. They're beginning to get ballista at the ready. You can hear the roll of cannonballs kind of being put in place underneath you. And the captain is now back in front of the steering wheel. That smile on her face is gone, and now a deadly serious expression as she shouts out, "Get the sails down! Get the sails down! Get everything either under deck or lashed to as tight as you can! Weapons at the ready! Spread yourselves out!"
I look towards anyone near me. What's about to happen? What is this?
The closest person to you is that goblin, who is currently kind of putting on a pair of brass knuckles and wrapping some rope around an arm to hold on. And she looks up at you and she's like,
"We're not exactly sure, but it's not going to be good."
Right. Okay. Never mind.
That's
These
just
people are
me,
so
dude.
cool. Oh, I love it. Okay. Yeah, I brace myself.
So, do we see anything out in the water, or?
make a perception check
Yeah,
if you'd like to.
that'll be a 13.
A 13?
I got a 15.
15. You both begin to scan the water, and there's just so much upheaval that it's really hard to see anything in particular. The ship is still kind of being tossed to and fro. Except, Hyde, you do notice that after a moment of waiting and looking, that the waves seem to come from starboard to port, and then switch and come port to starboard, and then come starboard to port again. Almost with purpose. And then there's a good 3 minutes where the water stops actively being disrupted and begins to settle. There's a quiet moment where you can hear a little bit of breeze catching whatever sails are left out, the creak of the wood of the ship, and the lapping of the water against the side. And you wait. And you breathe. And there is a sudden explosion from the starboard side of the ship. As bursting out of the water, you see a head, reptilian in shape, with long jaws, with ragged, jagged teeth all the way around them, come bursting up out a long neck that keeps coming and coming and coming, and it arcs its way up over the ship, and as it comes down the bottom side, like water is just spraying on all of you from the body of this thing as it kind of leaps its way over top of everybody. As it comes down, it hits the edge of the ship, breaking off of the port side part of the railing and swallowing whole that same human man who had originally grabbed you and picked you up high. As he screams and this creature eats him and dives back down into the water, and you watch the rest of this long serpentine body go up and around until finally a tail comes as the whole thing arcs over the ship back into the water. Two of the other crew members scream out, "Owen!" as he is eaten and taken underneath the waters. And as suddenly as it happened, the screaming dies down, and everything is silent again. The boat continues, the ship continues to start to settle. What are you all doing?
Oh, I hate this so much. I don't like this for Luna. I'm gonna tell her to go on the lower deck.
Okay, so you're
Like,
using your
command
action
her.
to tell her to go lower?
Command her to go
Okay.
to the lower deck.
I'm gonna go over and look over the side, like carefully.
The side where it went down or where it came from?
I guess where it went down. See if I can see anything.
So you
under
kind
the
of go to
surface.
where the railing is broken off on the port side.
But like
and
where
kinda
there's
look
still
over
some
a
railing.
little bit.
Kind of like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So you kind of come over here to the port side.
Yeah.
Cricket is a little bit behind you. Luna's heading down into the hold of the ship. Hyde, where are you going?
So is my action to command Luna, or can I have
I would
an
say
action
you have
besides that?
movement, and I'd say it's a bonus action to command her.
Okay,
So you can take an action and movement.
got it. I am going to just go over by Gamorg, and I can't hold an action if I did a bonus action, right?
No, you can hold an action.
Okay, I'm going to hold just a shot with my bow as soon as I see the creature come up again.
Okay. Sounds
And
good.
actually, I don't want to be by the edge because that's probably like a place where the creature would come out. So I'm gonna go like towards the middle of the ship.
Okay. Okay. So you position yourself middle of the boat, knocking an
And I'm
arrow and
listening.
waiting. Yep. All right. There's about 30 seconds of wait time, and then you begin to hear a churning of the water sound, and bursting up out of the water, now back a little bit more to the rear of the ship, and back on the starboard side again. You see that same large serpentine creature come bursting up out of the water, and in this moment, the captain points her sword in its direction and screams out at it, just a battle cry, just "Gah!" And you watch as flames just lick down her entire sword, and the scimitar that she's holding lights on fire as she points towards it. And that's going to trigger initiative. I'd like everyone to roll for it.
Oh my god, I'm rolling so bad. I got a 9 total.
A 9.
Same.
Okay, who's got the higher dex?
+2.
I'm pretty sure it's me, but I got +4.
Yeah.
Okay. So Hyde, and then Gamorg and the crew rolled lowest. Okay. Serpent rolled highest on its initiative. So it continues to come out of the water, and this time doesn't arc the entire way over the ship. It kind of like comes up high and then leans over top and then strikes down at one of the sailors who's off to the side. It's a halfling woman who has been kind of working with the sails. That's gonna be a... Let me make sure I have my stats right. It's a plus... Oh yeah, that's gonna hit. So, she needs to make a save. She fails it. She's gone.
Oh my god.
It swallows her whole. And then kind of back up and looks at all of you and... And it then wraps itself once around the ship. It goes over top, and you see the head duck under the water, and then a moment later pop up out the other side. So it is now wrapped once around the ship itself. And then the head is still up there. And it doesn't quite start to constrict yet, but just the fact that the body is wrapped around, like, it breaks the railing and begins to, like, constrict the ship. That'll bring us to Captain Van Diere. She is going to... first thing she's going to do is back away from the wheel and come over here and shout out, "Not my ship, you bastard!" and drive her sword out into the creature. So that's going to be a... Ooh, natural 2. She fails that. First strike. Second strike is a 20 total. That's going to hit. And not a ton of damage, but she does a little bit of damage with her... Oh, but her sword is lit. So she does an additional 2d6. So, yeah, more than doubles her damage. She deals 15 points of damage to the creature as she stabs out at it. And then kind of looks at how tough the hide was and is like, "We've got to get it off the boat fast." That's going to bring us to Hyde.
So, question. I was holding an action before we went into initiative. Do I still get to take that action? Or do
Yeah,
I
I'll
just
allow
go
you to
into-
loose that arrow before you really take your turn. So go ahead and fire off that arrow.
Got it. So, before initiative, my shot is 14 to hit.
14 misses.
Okay. Well, that was my first shot.
Okay, so that's your held action, so now it's your turn.
Yeah. I'm going to take 2 shots at it
Okay.
with my arrow, so that's 21 to hit for the first one.
21 does hit.
Okay. Here, give me 1 sec, sorry. That's going to be 5 points of damage.
5 points. Alrighty.
And then for the second shot, I would like to do sharpshooter.
Okay, so -5 to your roll, plus 10 if you hit to your damage.
15 to hit.
15 misses. So in trying to hit it in a weak spot, it's too small of a space to aim for in this moment, and it kind of goes colliding off one of the scales of its tough hide.
Oh, this is bad. And that's it. I'm going to take a couple steps back.
Okay, sounds good. Gamorg, you're up.
Okay, so I'm gonna. All right, so I'm gonna run up to the belly or the whatever that's there.
The part of it that's over top of the ship. Yep.
Right, and I am going to. I think I'm just gonna hit it with my double-bladed scimitar.
Okay.
Which I got that weapon pulled up because I always get confused about like how the bonus action works and all that. But to start with, I'll just do an attack, which is
Okay.
simple enough. Oh, that's great. Natural 1,
Oof.
which I don't think I.
It comes off of the scales, and it kind of does that thing where it like shakes your hand so far that like it hurts your hand,
Yeah. Okay.
and you're like, crap, this thing's hide is tough.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna do it again. With
Okay.
my second attack. Yeah. That'll be a 17 to hit.
17 just hits.
Okay. You gotta be kidding me. Alright, so 5 points of damage. I rolled
Okay.
a total of 3 ones.
Oh, but do you have that
One-
ability that
one
allows
I-
you to reroll?
Yeah, I re-rolled each of them once.
Oh,
One was re-rolled
okay.
as a 1. So,
Bummer.
so not 5 actually. 8 points of slashing damage.
Okay, 8 points of slashing damage. Sounds good.
And then bonus action, like second attack, or like the other.
Yeah,
end
you
of
get
the
another
scimitar.
strike
Yeah,
with
yeah.
your scimitar
Yeah.
because of bonus action. Yep.
That's not enough. That's a 14.
14 misses. So yeah, you're able to hit it once, but then it's just finding these scales, and it's a tough creature.
All right.
And you came over to it.
Yes.
So somewhere over in here, correct? Okay. All right. Any other movement or anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. That'll bring us to the crew, who is going to make a series of attacks and crossbow shots. So a miss, a natural 20, a miss, a natural 1, another miss, and another natural 20. So 2 natural 20s. So 2. Oh my gosh, double 1s on their damage. 4. So they deal 10 points of damage to it, total. Unfortunately, with some really bad rolls and damage rolls. But start to begin to loose crossbow bolts and stab at it as they try to get this thing off of their ship. That's going to bring us back to the Serpent. At the top of its round, it begins to constrict. The first constriction breaks through the rest of the railing and begins to splinter the edges of the top of the deck. And you feel the entire ship lurch and hold a little bit at a 15-degree tilt as just the wrestling of this ship has begun to send it off kilter. On its turn, it's going to start by taking an attack at Gamorg. That is going to be a 29 to hit.
No, that misses.
That misses.
No,
Dang.
Yes,
okay.
you got that. You got
Good
that
to
plus
know.
20
Good to
armor.
know.
Yeah, I've got that plus whatever armor. Yeah.
24,
This thing's
29,
mean.
36
Jeez.
points of piercing damage. And I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Dexterity saving throw.
Throw your die on me, Gamorg.
Not good. 5.
5. You are swallowed.
Okay.
As you are bitten and swallowed by the creature, you are blinded and restrained. And you can attack from within here, but it's a disadvantage because you're within its throat. And you will begin taking damage each other turn from being inside and being constricted as we go forward.
Cool.
What are you at HP-wise?
32.
Okay. That brings us to... Well, actually, it takes a tail attack against one of the other crew members. It hits them and knocks another crew member, this time just off of the ship completely.
How much of a retcon would it be if I used the luck point on that saving
To make
throw?
him... go ahead.
To re-roll my saving throw.
To re-roll your save, go for it.
You don't wanna Drax your way out of it.
I mean, I kind of do, but also, like, if I don't have... No,
Probably
it's not any better. It's a 4.
Oh,
I rolled
no.
a 4.
No,
So, yeah.
Joe.
Okay. Can you use additional luck on the same turn?
It says whenever
It's
you
up
make
to
an
you.
attack
I would
roll-
allow it.
It says you can spend 1. Like,
Oh,
whenever you
okay.
make a
If
roll.
you can only spend 1 on a turn, then
Yeah.
you gotta wait for the next turn. Okay. You are swallowed. Another crew member, another halfling, a male halfling, gets hit by the tail that's kind of whipped up around and just thrown off the boat. That brings us to Captain Kendall. And she's going to look around and shout out a couple orders. The first thing she's going to do is... she's going to actually roll up towards one of her crew members who was, like, right up against it. And is going to use a Battle Master maneuver to bait and switch. And swap places with that crew member. And that crew member gets an additional... Let's see, where's my D8? Where's my D8? There it is. An additional 5 points to his AC. And then she's going to take 2 strikes with her sword, natural 20, and a miss on the second. But she does do critical damage on the first one. So, 11 points plus 4, which is 8, plus 10, so 18, plus 11, 29 points of slashing damage on her strike. Nearly doubling the amount of damage that had already been done at this point. That is going to bring us to Hyde.
Awesome. So I kind of shake it off. You know, I've been asleep for 3 years, and I remember how to do it again. So I see Gamor get swallowed. Like, no! I take my bow out, and before I take a shot, I'm going to think about it and cast Hunter's Mark on it.
Okay.
And
I
then-
like the way you, like, he almost fires, and then Hyde goes, nope, gotta remember, cast Hunter's Mark.
Yep. That is me, and also Hyde.
Yes.
So cast Hunter's Mark, and as a bonus action, and then I'm going to take my shot.
Okay.
Just normal shot. And I'm changing d20s because that last one betrayed me. Excellent. 17 plus 9, so 26.
That's gonna hit.
Okay. Plus d6. 6, 9, 7.
Welcome to the
12
ocean,
points.
everybody.
12 points of damage.
12 points, okay.
And can I still take another shot, or would that be a bonus action and I already spent that on the spell?
No, you have 2 attacks.
Great. I
So
always
you
get
can take
confused by
another
that.
shot.
Okay,
Yep,
cool.
yep.
I'm going to take another
Yeah,
shot.
I think you get confused because most times your second attack is actually your Luna command.
It's with Luna.
But yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
But she's under the ship.
Nice and safe, hopefully. Okay. I am going to do sharpshooter on this one. I'm a little bit
Okay.
more focused. I feel confident with the Hunter's Mark. Gonna take my time, aim for the head. Okay. Oh my god, it's a 16 total.
16 just misses.
I know!
Just misses. So you take that extra breath, and the arrow is going perfectly towards it, and then at the last minute the head twists and it just ping off of the scale.
Okay, one more thing. I don't know if this is an action or a bonus. If it is, never mind. But seeing how things are going, I kind of want to call on Luna. I feel like this is needed. Can I get a whistle out or no?
I'll allow a whistle, yeah. You
Okay.
can call her, and I would say she can move on your turn, so I would say that she gets back up onto the deck
Okay.
at this point.
All right, cool. As soon as I see her, I whistle and I just point at the giant serpent, and she knows what that means, but she can go on her turn when that happens.
Sounds good. That'll be next turn. All right, Gamorg. Let's see here. You're going to immediately take...
Oh, Gamorg.
27 points of acid damage from the interior lining of this thing's stomach as it begins to burn on you. You are restrained, so you have disadvantage on your attacks, but you can take your turn.
So there's no save on that? It's just auto...
There's no save on that. It's auto damage.
All right. Oh, I am not going to last
It's not
long.
a good situation.
I'm going to use Fighting Spirit, so I have cancels out disadvantage.
Okay, yeah.
And then
And you get your, was it 5 HP?
5 HP, yes.
There you go.
5 temporary. I don't know if that makes any difference.
It just means that they can't be healed back.
Right.
So once you lose them, you lose them.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, gonna make an attack. That'll be a 22 to hit.
Hey, that hits. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Reroll that to the same thing. 8 points of slashing damage on that.
8 points, okay.
And then second attack.
Okay.
That's a 24 to hit.
24 hits.
And 10 points of slashing damage.
10 points, okay.
And then sure,
You
why
feel,
not?
as you begin to cut into it, you feel yourself shoved 5 feet to the left as this thing, in reaction to the damage coming from the inside of it, almost begins to, like, regurgitate you a bit. You get the sense that hurting it from the inside causes it to want to vomit you out.
I'm going to go ahead and use Action Surge.
Okay.
So, attack number 3. And then that's a 23 to hit.
That hits.
It's another 10 points of slashing.
That fighting spirit is clutch in this moment, canceling out that disadvantage.
Yeah, seriously. And then bonus action attack.
Okay. You also get 2 attacks on action surge. Because when you attack as an action, you get a second attack.
Sweet. Okay, so this is my second attack.
So technically, with action surge, you can get up to 5 attacks in a round.
Sweet.
Damn, dude.
Love it. So that's a 25 to hit.
25 hits.
So that's 11 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
And then
Damn, dude.
Bonus action.
In that moment, before you get your bonus action, it is a DC 20 Constitution save for it to not vomit you up when it is dealt 30 or more points of damage in a round from the inside.
Okay.
It rolled a total of 19.
Wow.
Nice.
So as you slash with that 4th attack, you feel it just in reaction to the pain that you're causing from the inside. And you come tumbling out
Okay.
onto the deck next to Cricket. Sorry, I gotta move this. You have not used your movement. You're no longer restrained, and you still have a bonus action, but you are right there in front of it, on the ground, prone, on the ship's deck.
Okay. And I'm like looking at its face, basically.
You are lying on your back, and it is looking in your face, and it's just like bits of vomit and saliva are dripping off of it onto you. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna use my bonus action. Or use half my movement to stand up, and just jam my scimitar up into the roof of its mouth.
Okay.
There's the low roll. So that's not enough. That was a 3.
You go to jam it up, and it just pulls out of the way.
Yeah.
But in that one round, you dealt 39 points of damage.
Jeez.
Sweet. I took a lot. A lot.
You did.
But...
It is starting to look a little rough from the bloodiness. Like, you can see blood coming out of its mouth from that. But from the outside, you don't see a lot of damage done to this thing yet at all. That's going to bring us to the crew, who is going to, with a couple of less members, begin to take some attacks. That's a hit, and a miss, and a miss, and a miss. So 1 hits for 5 points of damage. And now to the Serpent. It is going to, at the top of the round, constrict a second time. This time, it breaks through the top deck. And you just, it's almost like it drops through, because as it constricts, you hear like this squeaking of the wood, and then crash, and it like falls through to the next deck. The body is still a little bit above the main deck just because of how large and thick it is, but it's almost like halfway submerged within the ship now. Another round or two of this type of damage, and this ship is not going to sail. It then will use a tail attack against the captain. That's going to hit with a 21. And let's see here. That's going to be 48. 7, 10, 16, 24 points of damage to the captain. And she is shoved back. Well, actually, she needs to make a strength save, which she passes with a natural 19 plus. So she is not shoved backwards, but she does take a hefty chunk of damage there in that moment. It then will bite down. 2 people in front of it are Cricket and Gamorg. Gamorg, high or low?
High, but also it knows that it just, like, I'm the one that did all that inside it, so...
It does.
Okay.
It does. It is high, so you will take the benefit of that, and it will go after Cricket.
Okay.
With a 15, that unfortunately does hit Cricket. And Cricket does not have a ton of HP, so let's see if he survives this.
Thanks.
Where's my D10s? 5, 10, 15. All 5s on 4d10, so 27, which is his exact HP. So the creature bites Cricket, and because that knocks him unconscious, he's unable to resist, and it swallows him. And he is also unconscious in that moment.
Jeez.
So it swallows Cricket, and you do see him, like, as it's lifting him up to, like, throw him up into the air and then gobble him down its gullet. You see his body just limp. He's not resisting. You can tell he's out. That will bring us to the captain. She is going to...
And we woke up and this happened. What are the chances?
Both of her strikes miss. However, she sees how important this moment is, and she's going to action surge.
Yes, Cap.
And
Get a Cappy.
1 attack will hit out of her 4.
Man.
So that's going to be 11 plus her flame. 16. High on those rolls. So 24 points of damage from the captain from her strike. All right, that brings us to... Let's see here. That brings us to hide.
Cool. Luna's not very confident, so is there anyone right next to the body of the snake that she can go right next to?
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's Gamorg, but yeah. So with Pack Takist, yeah, there's Gamorg on this side, and then a crew member on the other side.
All right. So she's making her way, kind of like, not very sturdy, and she gets to the serpent, and she's gonna take a bite attack.
So this will be a straight roll because she would have been at disadvantage.
Correct. Yes.
Because of her sea legs.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna be an 18 to hit.
18 hits.
Excellent.
The bite goes through the skin.
14 points of damage.
14 points. Excellent.
And then
Luna is in the fight.
Yes. And then as that happens, I'm gonna take a shot with my longbow. Again, I'm gonna take a breath, and I'm gonna take it with sharpshooter.
Okay.
It's gotta work one of these times, right? Nice. 17 plus 4, 21.
That hits.
Excellent.
So you'll add an additional
Plus
10 damage to that shot.
Yes, and plus Hunter's Mark as well.
Plus Hunter's Mark, yep.
20 points of damage total.
20 points of damage total.
Nicely done.
For the first time, you see
Ready, yeah.
now with Luna biting it, getting stabbed by the captain, and you shooting it, you begin to see blood dripping from the outside. As it looks around, it still has a tight hold on the ship, but it is starting to look bloodier than it certainly did a few moments ago. Gamorg, you're up.
All right. Another fighting spirit.
Okay.
So another 5.
Now you have advantage because you
Yes.
are not inside and restrained.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, gonna run up to it wherever I need to be to get at it, and
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, it's big enough. You're right there.
Perfect. Yeah. So that's not good. So, yeah, that's like 11.
11 misses.
Second attack. The 16. Not
16
enough.
just misses.
So bonus
Those are
action.
Those are with advantage.
Oh no. So that's the first attack. Sorry.
So yeah, that's the first attack. 16.
16.
Misses, yeah.
So that's a miss. Second attack with advantage. That's not enough. That's enough. That's a 25.
That hits. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. And then 9 points of slashing damage.
9 points. All right.
And then the bonus action attack. 17.
17 just hits.
You roll that.
Dice overboard.
So that's 8. Don't add the bonus on that, right? So that's 8 points of slashing
Correct.
damage.
Yeah. Okay. Is that your turn?
I believe that is my turn. Let me just double check.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
The crew will continue to fire off crossbow bolts. That's a hit, a miss, and just misses. So 2 hits. Rolling well this time. 10.
Don't they have cannons on this thing?
Not on the top. On the top, it is potentially ballista, but in this moment, they're just firing crossbow bolts. Ballista are not something you really want to shoot towards your own ship.
Makes sense.
Even against a thing
That
like
makes
this.
sense.
That brings us to the top of the round. Instead of constricting, the creature begins to unwrap itself. The head pulls back and away and goes under the water and comes back up and then and it's scraping along the ship. It's still doing damage. It's rocking the ship as the body pulls away. Those scales are grabbing things and just shredding the ship as it goes. One crew member, Luna, Gamorg, and the captain would all get attacks of opportunity as this thing begins to pull away from it.
Sweet.
Is it a straight roll for Luna because it's still it's still packed active?
Yes. Yep. Captain and the crew member both miss.
14 for Luna.
Luna misses.
Okay.
And
Sweet.
is fighting spirit until your next turn or just for this turn?
It says
'Cause this is
until
important.
the end of the current turn.
Okay, so because your turn ended, you don't have advantage on this strike.
But I got a 25. So
Oh, hey! All right, roll your damage.
uh 10 points of slashing damage.
Yes.
As it moves away from you, you catch it just under the jaw in that last moment as it wraps around. And you see blood begin to gush out of it and just leave ichor along the cabin, or along the deck as it goes. However, as it falls back into the water, it turns, swims, crashes up, turns, looks at you all, and shrieks one last time before diving under the water with just enough HP to hang on.
Quick question. I think I know the answer already, but so attack of opportunity is a reaction, correct?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so like my brace thing would I think that's a reaction also.
Your battle.
You can use a reaction. Yep. Yeah. So that
Yeah,
that,
you have
that
to use a
wouldn't count.
reaction. Yep.
Yep.
As the creature goes under the water, with several of the crew members still in its gullet. In this moment, what do you do?
I'm gonna see if I can still catch it before it's like completely submerged. I want to just get one or two last shots out.
Okay,
possible.
so you'd be shooting into the water,
Okay, so
hoping to...
well, I mean, I was hoping that I would catch it before it's like fully submerged.
It has enough movement speed to disappear under the water on its turn. Although, well, hang on. It unwraps, so that's part of its movement. I would say that you could try for the tail as
Okay.
it goes. I'd say that there's a brief moment where you could try for the tail.
Could I
Is
also
this like-
It's a big creature.
with my bow? Could I also do that?
You wouldn't have time,
To
and
get it
this
out,
is a
yeah.
split-second
Sure.
moment to get it out, to get over there, yeah.
Fair enough.
I got an 18.
And 18 hits.
Okay. Plus Hunter's Mark. 11 points.
11 points. Somehow, this final arrow makes its way over the edge of the ship,
Yup.
pierces the tail of this giant sea serpent, and like Achilles' heel, was the last bit of damage needed to eke life from it. As the tail goes under the water, and then a few moments later, the water is disturbed again as the huge body of the creature surfaces, lifeless and floating, and then slowly begins to sink, dead under the water. What are you all doing?
Amazing.
I'm gonna yell to the captain. Is there anything we can do to get Cricket out of there?
We need to go after it then. She shouts out an order, and two of the crew members dive into the water and begin swimming towards it. But
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
I'm gonna drop my weapons and dive in.
Okay. It is about 20 feet off the side of the ship. Your swim speed is half of your movement speed. So I would say half your movement to get to the edge of the ship, dive, and the other half. So what's your total movement?
30.
30. I mean, you get to like where the tail was,
Okay.
but you're not up to where the mouth is on this turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna jump in, but I tell the captain, is there anything we can throw that maybe we can hook the creature into and pull it in or something like that?
They're already grabbing hooks attached to
Great.
ropes and beginning to swing them out and trying to latch onto this thing. But be ready to let them drop if it submerges. We don't want it to drag the ship with it.
Right.
Cricket will make another death save. Okay. Gamorg, you use another 15 feet of swim speed. You're not quite to the head yet. Do you want to burn your action to get all the way to the head, or do something else?
Yeah, I might as well.
Okay. So you burn your action swimming as hard as you can. You get to the head of the creature that is starting to sink. But you do not have time quite yet to open the jaws and try to retrieve your friend.
Yeah.
Hyde, anything you're doing on your turn. You actually, Gamorg, you outpace the other two sailors.
Okay.
So you're there the first.
I would like to take one of the things, the ropes with the hooks, and try to toss it at the body in order to like grab it.
Okay. Go ahead and make an attack roll. This is kind of like an improvised weapon. So just make a roll plus your dex.
Hunter's Smack wouldn't play into that, would it?
It would not, no.
Okay, 19 total.
A 19 is enough. Yeah, you swing it out, and the hook grabs onto a couple of the scales of this creature, and you pull it, and you feel it kind of sink into the flesh.
Nice. I don't know if it's going to do anything, but I'm going to start pulling with everything I have.
Okay. Yep, you begin pulling. Go ahead and make a strength check for me. Make it with advantage, because I assume Luna would be helping you.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's any other sailors around, I'm like, hey,
Yep.
I got it.
Yeah,
pull.
others are doing the same thing. They're swinging it. You see the captain's got a rope and is pulling back, and some of the other sailors are as well.
What am I rolling again?
Strength check.
Strength check.
Yeah.
Strength. Skills. I got a natural 3, and strength is probably not very good. It's 2, so 5 total.
A 5. Okay. You begin pulling, but you're not making a ton of progress.
Oh,
You're not
it was
pulling
with
any
advantage.
closer or anything.
It was with, I
It was with
rolled
advantage,
once.
yep.
Oh, sweet. 18 on the second one, so 20 total.
Okay. 20 total. Okay. You're not going to pull this thing up out of the water. But you do manage to, actually, in some respects, like all of you working together are starting to pull the boat back upright just a little bit. And kind of creating a sense of like tension between the two, where it's not sinking much faster and the boat's not, like you're not gaining anything, but you're keeping it from falling.
That's totally what I was trying to do.
Excellent. Another save for Cricket. Cricket rolls a natural 20 on his third death save.
Sweet.
Gamorg, you are at the head. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna. So is the head underneath, or is it like?
It's like half submerged.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna
Underwater.
like go under to get into the mouth and like try to grab whatever I can see in there.
Okay. You take a deep breath, dive under a little bit, push the jaws open, and begin reaching for something. And you're reaching, and all of a sudden you feel a small hand grab your wrist. As with a natural 20 on a death save, Cricket came back with 1 point of HP.
Sweet. That's amazing.
And you clasp the wrist, Beastmaster style, and begin to pull him out. And he kind of, with whatever movement he can, he comes out and sputters to the top, and both of you surface there at the head of the creature. He is in a bad way. He may pass back out in any second here.
I'm gonna just like help support him while I'm swimming. Take him back over to the ship.
Without too much fuss, now with the help of the other crew members who had been swimming, you are able to get Cricket back. By the time you get back to the ship, he has passed out unconscious again. He has taken a ton of wounds. He has lost a lot of blood. And as you all kind of crawl your way back up onto the ship itself has massive damage done to it. The entire top deck has been broken through along where the creature's body was. And you could hear the shouts of people underneath dealing to breaches to the hull that happened from the bottom part of the constriction. However, the captain kind of comes over. He's like, I think the men are going to be able to patch it up as long as we don't run into another one of those. The good news is, and she kind of looks over, and you see that that kind of wolf-like person with the long ears and the snout-like face, holding a map, kind of walk over, and she says, "The good news, if there is any." She kind of flips the map around and points to the X on it. "I think we're here."
Ooh.
Go hide. As you look at this, all of a sudden you hear a voice in your head. As if it was right next to you, speaking in your ear. And you just hear the voice of Siki.
Hide? Gamorg? Are you guys alright? Where are you? I am at an inn. Are we dead?